Welcome to King Says So, a channel that advocates for one Africa, one land, one Africa, one language, one Africa, one currency, one Africa, one army. I wish to witness Africans all around the world united as one in our lifetime. Enjoy.
What's up, ladies and gentlemen? It's your boy King053, Mr. Easy Imali Eneng, and we're back at it again with another one. And I have to address these fools in South Africa, because South Africa is in no shortage of stupid black African fools, you know. And I'm not addressing people like Vusi Tembekwayo, Penwell the Black Pen, and this stupid Ike Khumalo, because I'm addressing them because the narrative that they're pushing out there is very dangerous, and because they are, I would say, bigger people, have got a stronger following. The narrative they push stays out there if people like myself don't say anything. And people like you, people in my channel, you guys know exactly how I feel about it, about someone saying apartheid was better than what we are experiencing now. It makes me sick to my stomach to hear someone saying that. And I was browsing through Facebook, of which I don't normally do. I had a bad day today. So I was browsing through Facebook, and then I found this video. And I was like, what on earth is this stupid fool saying? What type of stupidity? Where do you go to get this? Who's your father? You know when you see someone being so stupid and you want to meet their family, like you want to understand how did they grow up. You want to get to a point where you are like, no, but you can't be this stupid. Who is your mother? Where do you come from? Where does your where, you know? Let me quickly play this video so you guys can see what I'm talking about. And when I browsed, I found many other videos. I just selected this one just to show him how foolish he is in the things that he's uttering out of his stupid mouth. Let's just quickly watch, and I'll do a commentary after that.
One day we need to tell the youth of this country that apartheid was better than democracy. Not everything that happened under apartheid was bad, Baba. We had sports stars during apartheid. People we produced playing Naboped. Who's playing with Messi today? Education. We had artisan schools. People could do plumbing, motor mechanism, welding. All those things we produced under apartheid. Teachers, nurses colleges, doctors colleges. We had those things. Go arts we were producing, Baba. Bo Ipintombi, Manhattan Brothers, Miriam Makeba at international level. Not people singing in nightclubs. Boxers, we had Tabo School Point Club. We had Tabo Simons Kosana, Peter Teramatebola, even Gunma athletes. Abo Jake Ntul. We health, Parakwanat was the biggest hospital in the world. We're doing Abo heart transplant, including our homelands. Homelands were performing better than they are doing now. Manyaleti Game Resort or Game Reserve. Mkababa Beach. We had our own things, separate development. You can argue and say, you know what, ours were not up to standards facilities, but we had them. Bicycle lanes, stadiums, Colosseum stadiums, halls, people could dance. We had dancers, people dancing, Baba, winning competition in the world. We had swimmers, people going to Japan, doing karateka, black belts. Who's a karateka now? With a black belt from Japan. And we had so many things. Whatever that white people, were producing, also producing in our townships, homelands. People, the ANC, they fucked up everything. And they will lie and say, apartheid killed black people. Yes, there are people who died. And ANC, MK, Mkhonto Wesizwe, they killed more black people than apartheid between 1948 and 1990. So don't believe everything that you hear, Bafethu. You know, there's so many things, Baba. We had sports stars. We had doctors. We had business people, butcheries. Whatever that white people had, we had them. People running a funeral undertaker, you know, a dry clean. We had those things. The ANC, they came here.
So yes, the way he started this video by saying, we need to tell the youth of this country that apartheid was better than democracy. Imagine starting a sentence like that. Apartheid was better than democracy. Apartheid meaning a favor of few discriminating a majority is better than democracy. Already, before we can even start analyzing what he is about to say, he has already failed. Then he goes into stupid things like we produced players who played with Pele. Who's playing with Messi right now? How? Maybe you don't follow sport, but we do. We do. Many South African players are everywhere, in the United States, in the Arabs, in Africa, in the EPL, everywhere, Bundesliga, everywhere you find South African players playing against the very best, and of which we, as a Pan-Africanist country, a Pan-Africanist movement, a Pan-Africanist channel, we are happy that those things are happening, but they don't really do anything for us black people. It is not a matter of celebrating. It's a matter of acknowledgement that the opportunities are there because the opportunities were not there in the past. When we talk about in the past, there was the system will allow few to get out. One or two. You can't name a lot. One or two, five, a handful, that's it. Compared to now where South African players are scattered in the world. He's speaking about artisan schools that were built. I mean, we have artisan schools everywhere. Here in Kimberley, where I stay, is artisan schools. Where you stay next to a mine, you have to have artisan schools, because how is the mine going to produce its workers? Because we Africans, as the way Ike is talking, we have to be proud of being the working class. We have to be proud of the working class. He said, we produce teachers and nurses and everything that the apartheid people produced. I mean, what the hell nonsense is that? Why are we so proud being the working class? Being the yes master puppets? What is wrong with this Ike? Don't know why doesn't he go to the doctor and get rid of this nonsense there? And then he speaks about Miriam Makeba. Does he think we don't know the history of Miriam Makeba? Or is he just testing our intelligence? Miriam Makeba actually fled South Africa, went to the US, and there she was vocally speaking against the apartheid government. In fact, when Miriam Makeba's mother passed away, the apartheid government refused their entry into South Africa. And then when she was busy doing a humanitarian work, traveling the world, the US revoked her passport. Her passport, she couldn't go back to the US. You understand what I'm saying? This is the people that you want to give us examples about. And then he spoke also about Ntlapo. For those who don't know boxing, you wouldn't know who is he speaking about. Ntlapo, let me just give you a brief historical background. He was the lightweight, welterweight, and the junior welterweight champion. He retired as a welterweight and a junior South African champion. But if you go and research his history perfectly, like I did, you will then understand that he could not fight the best in the world because the government of South Africa did not allow him to fight. This is the type of thing that he says apartheid was better than what you call democracy. Speaking about Baragwana Hospital was the biggest in the world. No, It was not the biggest in the world. Still not the biggest in the world. Yes, it's in the top 5, probably top 3, but it was not the biggest in the world. Why are you lying to us? Because people will just throw things, and they know that some of us are lazy to research. Speaking about, we used to produce karateka, people going to Japan for karate. I mean, no other time is mixed martial art, any combat sport, more famous right now than in the history of Africa. Right now, what we have in Africa, in South Africa specifically, we have we are scattered everywhere in the world, collecting medals, fighting for championships all the time. You understand? So the reason he says what people had, we were producing in the township. What were you producing in the townships? Did you produce any gold in the townships? Did you produce any diamonds in the townships? Did you produce any coal in the township? Were you doing any farming in the township? We Africans in the apartheid time were reduced to working class. Only a few. You could literally count. If there was a doctor, you were probably the only doctor in your block, saying that the ANC fucked up everything. That is, I told you guys, that is not a true narrative. I told you, we can agree, all of us, that the ANC has not been doing good the past, since Cyril Ramaphosa came in. Even in Zuma's time, it was not this bad. There's a joke that Cyril Ramaphosa turned ANC from ShopRite to Woolworths. If you understand it, you understand. If you don't, it's fine. When we calculated the last 30 years of democracy compared to the colonizing years, over 300 years of being colonized in South Africa, compared to these 30 years, I think it's over 400. 330 years, South Africa has come a long way. It is not even comparable to compare us to the apartheid regime. You understand what I'm saying? So he says, don't believe what people are saying. We had spotters. I have already covered that. We have sports stars. We had doctors. It's not. It does not. The numbers don't amount the same thing. We have more now. We have more right now compared to. I think him going to prison, being arrested for fraud and all of these things, that he was spying and all of that, has messed up Ike's mind. I don't want to bring his background and all of his court cases. He knows what I'm talking about. Such a stupid fool. So now, for those who don't know, who've been watching, I want to play a video for you guys, and then I'm gonna play 2 or 3 videos for you guys, so I can they make me sick, these people. They make me sick.
We must never forget what happened under apartheid, so that nobody will ever take a public office in this country and actually get away with anything which vaguely resembles apartheid.
Why should a government which professes to be a government of Christians decide to use murder as a method of rising to political power?
Now apartheid started when these white settlers came to Africa. These Dutch evil people came to South Africa, the Afrikaners, and then they started seeing that this is actually the land of Eden the Bible is talking about. The land, the soil is so good, the animals are so many, the landscape is so vast, the people are so friendly, there is no prisons, there is no hospitals. How are these people living? There is a kingdom there, there is a kingdom there. These people are coexisting perfectly. You don't hear any, Then there was like, no man, we have to take these people's land. And of course, when they saw our African women, you can imagine a Dutch person seeing an African person for the first time. Like, too much assets, too much assets. They raped our Xhosa, Zulu, and Khoisan sisters, and produced another race named the Coloureds. Now the Coloureds, because of their lighter nyana in complexion, spoke the master's language, which was Afrikaans. And then on the clip I just played for you, many black people were then forced to change their surnames, even their names, to these colonizers so that they can be accepted in jobs. Because what are you going to do? You must survive. I've got a friend here in Kimberley by the name of Clifford Jackals. And I told him, Jackals is in Tswana is Pukuje. I asked him, why don't you change your surname back to Pukuje? Who is forcing us to still keep the surnames of all our colonizers, the names of our colonizers? That's why myself and my children, they don't have what we call Christian names. They don't. No. One name, that's it. No Christian name, one African name, that's it. You understand what I'm saying? So it pains me that people forget all that raping and killing and stealing of land and stealing of cattle, displacing of people from their land. History is lost. You find many African people, colored people, and many Xhosa people who don't know actually their bloodline proper. They don't know actually where they come from. They can't tell you actually because it has been diluted so much and changed so much. Names have changed so much. Places have changed so much. They don't know anymore. Then we come to this stupid thing called de Klerk. Let's just quickly play a video about de Klerk and come back. Guys.
Apartheid was wrong. I apologize in my capacity as leader of the National Party to the millions of South Africans who suffered as a result of discriminatory legislation and policies.
I think the moment when the art sort of really broke down was after President de Klerk appeared before the Commission, and when we asked him questions about the fact that the South African apartheid state had sponsored death squads. And then he began to elucidate on his bad apple theory.
The recent information of atrocities I find as shocking and abhorrent as anybody else.
How would a reasonable person interpret those directives, those statements? Would a reasonable person, member of the security forces, who is enjoined to use the strongest possible methods to combat the revolution, not interpret what was being said to authorize killings and assassinations? And that's the question.
There was never any reference that I can recall in any way whatsoever of our policy being using terrorist methods. Yes, firm action, yes. Using and applying extraordinary measures, but not murdering people, not assassination. It was never part of the policy.
To make that apology and then to negate it by, the way that I feel sorry for him, that maybe he didn't know. But he didn't know. I told him people were killed. We went and told them. To tell me that he didn't know. I'm sad.
Mr. de Klerk is not the president of South Africa. He is the president of the whites.
Now, so many people were killed. Ike said the apartheid, the ANC military arm, Umkhonto weSizwe, killed more people than the apartheid government from 1940, what did he say, 48 to 1990. How can someone even utter those words? First of all, Ike is born in 1972. Before we even start, you were born in 1972. How on earth did you calculate how many people died from the apartheid regime and the ANC Umkhonto weSizwe from 1948 to 1990? 72, when it was 82, you were only 10 years old. Yeah, I can give you 92, you were 20 years old. But at 1982, you were only 10 years old. When did you start calculating these bodies? Where did you get your figures from? It does not make sense. The apartheid regime worked so perfectly because the one thing that white people mastered was to loosen the physical chain but keep the mental ones. So now we have an issue where we Africans debate amongst each other. Imagine, I'm not debating with a white person release a video saying apartheid was bad. We're speaking about the African brother who uttered those words. The system works so nicely that mentally we stay enchained by thinking that we Africans are not good enough without a master. We Africans are not good enough alone. We Africans, we were doing better back then when we were whipped on our back and told what to do, told where to go, told where not to go. Go to this school, don't go to that school, learn this language, don't learn that language. That is how much the system has worked. That even 30 years after democracy, these people still thinking of going back or of saying the past was better than the present. Any person who's watching these videos who's not from South Africa can tell you that South Africa is doing well. It's only you South Africans that don't see it. You go and tell a Zimbabwean person that South Africa was better in apartheid, and they will be confused. Go and tell someone in South Sudan that South Africa was better in apartheid than now in democracy. Tell it to a Nigerian. Go and tell it to a person in Lesotho. Tell it to every African person. They will think you are not normal in your head, because even your reasoning capacity is too low. But you are constantly challenging our intelligence. In 1976, we saw the uprising of students saying, listen, we don't want to learn with this Afrikaans language anymore. We want to learn in our mother tongues. Just take a look at what happened.
I was filled with anxiety and, of course, excited as well.
There were so many, and there were others still coming, joining.
Our original plan was just to get to Orlando West, pledge our solidarity, sing our song, and then we thought that is when we'd have met our point and off we'd go back home. Little did we expect the kind of reaction that we got from the police on that day.
So unfortunately, the police told us to disperse. So we refused to disperse. We told them, no, we are not going to intimidate anybody. We are not going to loot any shop. We are not going to do anything which is wrong. But we are going to march and demonstrate and sing, then go back homes. They said, no, we must disperse.
Any different?
When you go into a shop, almost invariably, whether you came first or whenever you came, you will be served generally after a white customer, and often a mere slip of a girl behind the counter, because she is white, can say to your father, yes, boy, what you want. And this just gives you a pain in the heart that you can't.
Small students were killed for standing up for their rights. This was not so long ago. This Ike was 4 years old that time. I'm sure he was, when he was 4, he was counting how many people are dying, because that's what he wants us to believe. This person fought us for a heart. The people were tired to say, listen, we want to learn in our mother language. But to show you how much the system works, even today, Afrikaans only spoken in South Africa. On all the private schools and all the schools that are high class Afrikaans, you find it there. Still protected by the black government. For what reason, I don't know. Why is it that our government does not say, just imagine this happens, like our government says, every African must have an African surname. If I was in power, I was going to implement such laws. Every African must have an African surname. In fact, I'll go as far as saying every African must have an African name, and no other name, no Christian name, no other name but African name. Go and change your surnames. You Africans who've got Afrikaner surname, please go and change your surnames. Enlighten your families. You can't be called Blackies, but you know that your surname is Muntu. Why? Go and change. You can't be called Api when you know your surname is Train. Go and change your surname. Africans cannot go. If us South Africans are not bothered by our brothers and sisters having Afrikaans surnames, and for me, I grew up in Mpumalanga, okay, KwaNdebele to be exact. When I came to Kimberley, I was amazed that in Kimberley, the first language to speak, to socialize with, is Afrikaans. You find 3-4 black people, no master around them, they're speaking Afrikaans fluently. They don't even think about it. It's automatic that they speak Afrikaans. And I understand because of the great rich history that Northern Cape has of racism. You know, every province has got a different taste of how racism impacted them. And in Mpumalanga, where I come from, it was not that much. In Mpumalanga, in fact, even if when you spoke English, you look like a coconut, you look like a sellout. So Afrikaans, we never really spoke. We went to schools that were teaching us Afrikaans, but when we came back home, we never spoke it. In Kimberley, it's different. You have to speak Afrikaans to survive here. I learned it the hard way because I worked in the farms. I worked for the Department of Agriculture, Environment and Nature Conservation and Rural Development. So I'm a person that travels Northern Cape like nobody's business. I work with farmers. That's what I do. You know. So yes, guys. We must never ever forget. We must never ever forget what apartheid did to our ancestors. Our ancestors are looking at us as weaklings. They can't believe how we are reasoning. That's why I'm saying we want to know who's Ike's father. Because if Ike was born in 72, his father was probably born in the 30s, probably the 40s. He was deep in apartheid, his father. Maybe it didn't affect him. That's why his son reasoned like a thunderhead, a stupid, I don't know what. Oompa Loompa. He says, just young. Guys, I know. Anyway, thank you guys for watching this. I'm sorry again, you know, I had a bad day, my energy is low. I hate losing money. Lost some money today, so had a bad day. Go in the comment section, tell me, am I just sucking nonsense out of my thumb? Was really the apartheid better than democracy? If you had to choose, you would want to go and live in apartheid compared to now. What is it that I'm missing? Maybe some of you can enlighten me on the comment section. Some of you who are Ike's friends or followers or whatever, just enlighten me so I can know what actually was the point he was trying to make. Thank you so much for joining, guys. Until we meet next time, don't forget to pray and just know that your boy King 053 Mr. Easy Malening salutes you. God bless.
We must never forget what happened under apartheid, so that nobody will ever take a public office in this country and actually get away with anything which vaguely resembles apartheid.
Why should a government which professes to be a government of Christians decide to use murder as a method of rising to political power?
Thank you for tuning in. If you enjoyed the content, leave your thoughts on the comment section and hit the like and subscribe button, and we will meet on the next one.